Game of Thrones character tier list. This should be a fun little video. So, who to begin with? Should we get straight into it? Sansa. F. One of the worst characters. Not only is it Sansa's fault that Ned gets captured in the books in King's Landing, but she's written so terribly in the show, especially in the later seasons. There's that stupid line where Tyrion meets Jon on Dragonstone and Tyrion says, "Your sister is much smarter than she lets on, you know." And then Jon says, "She's starting to let on." But Tyrion barely spoke to her throughout the show. One of their conversations was Sansa literally not knowing the word shit. She thinks it's shift. Tyrion barely talks to her and for some reason thinks she's insanely intelligent. Why? No reason. Bran. Where do we put Bran? Bran's kind of meh. And there's nothing really wrong with him, he's just a bit... I guess he's just a bit dull. What about Rickon? I mean, Rickon's probably the same. He's not a bad character, but he just doesn't really... I guess he was pretty silly to not zigzag when Ramsay's shooting at him. But Rickon in the book has potential. Big book Rickon could be higher, but show Rickon is down. Joffrey. Joffrey's a lot of fun. He's a great villain. I guess he's written really well to be an arsehole, so maybe an A? Yeah, why don't we leave Joffrey an A for now? Ooh, Theon. Now, book Theon would be up here, but I don't like the way they wrote show Theon. And then, of course, when he becomes Reek, he's kind of annoying, so maybe an E. I guess he does redeem himself at the end, but he still doesn't really do much. Like, they threw his death away with the Night King. That was so stupid. Yeah, let's leave him an E. Littlefinger. At first, definitely S. And in the books, he is still an S. He's one of the best characters in the books. But the show ruins him come season 5, and he's down in F. By making him sell Sansa to the Boltons is so absolutely ridiculously stupid. And then he just continues to be a clown. Such a shame. Such a shame. Robert. I reckon... He does say a lot of funny stuff. Maybe that is good enough to put him in S, just for the memes. Also, people say that Robert is... Some people stupidly say Robert is a terrible king. Robert is not a terrible king. When you think about the truly terrible kings of Westeros, like Maegor the Cruel and Aerys II, Robert Baratheon is nothing like either of them. Sure, he's not a great king, but he's not a bad king. He's a very mediocre king. He's more good than bad. The only threat during his reign is a Greyjoy rebellion, but again, that's not related to anything he did. That's because the Greyjoys were kinda cunts. So yeah, let's leave him in S for now. We might bump him down a bit later. Arya. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with her, I guess, until she gets to Braavos, and then she gets that crazy plot armor. But as for characterization, maybe a B? I guess she's not... How badly harmed is she by the end of the show, though? That's the problem. Let's put her in C for now. Sadly, season 5 onwards ruins many characters. The Hound, ooh. Another potential S. However, the ending bumps him down a few points. Where would we put him? Maybe a B because of season 8? I'd love to put him up here, but season 8 exists. Jorah. One of the rare examples of a book character being better in the show. Early season Jorah's pretty great, but again, he gets a really dumb death in season 8. Maybe a B? Samwell. Where would Sam go? I mean, there's no real problem with Sam. I guess he's not the most interesting character. And he does not get assassinated, which is good. Maybe a B? I could understand someone putting him in A or S, but I think I'll put him in B. Tyrion. Again, early book and early show. Definitely an S. Still in the books, he's definitely an S. But the show makes him absolutely stupid and completely ruins him in season 8. Renly. Show Renly. Show Renly's probably an E, because he doesn't really do anything. Book Renly's pretty cool. Book Renly would probably be maybe a B, but Sir Renly's an E. He was poorly cast as well. When Ned sees Renly in the books, he thinks he's meeting a young Robert. Like, Renly is as tall as Robert is. He's as muscular as Robert was in his heyday. He just doesn't have a beard. But Renly in the show is quite short and not muscular at all. Ros? She's not really much of a character. She's more at events. She witnesses events. Or she gets delivered exposition. E. She's not, like, assassinated, but she doesn't get as badly assassinated as these three, so she's not F. Gior. Nothing bad happens to Gior's character. I'd say he would be an A. I'm not sure there's enough to put him in S, but there's nothing really wrong with him, so yeah, he seems fine. Gendry. Again, Gendry doesn't... Nothing really bad happens to Gendry's character. I like Gendry. I could understand someone putting him in C or D, but I think B is fine. Lysa Arryn. Again, she gets killed before the show gets bad. So, again, she's not much of a character. She does scheme a lot with Littlefinger, but all that's off page or off screen. Maybe a C? Maybe a D. I mean, she's barely in the show. Robert Arryn. Robert Arryn, yeah, I guess the same for Robert. Or maybe an E. He is a little cunt. Well, no, because he's well written. He's written to be a cunt. He's a well written cunt. He can stay in D. Bronn. Bronn's really cool, but during the end Bronn's really cool, but in season 8 and onwards he starts getting incredibly lucky. And it's almost like the writers play into the joke a bit, which is a shame. I like Bronn when he's more serious rather than just saying memes and shit. Sadly, we'll put Bronn in. Maybe Bronn can stay in B for that. Grand Maester Pycelle. So, fun fact, this actor he was a villain in Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and James Bond. And Pycelle is not... Again, he's not a badly written character. He's one of the interesting schemers. I don't think he deserves to be an A. Yeah, I think B. Varys, again, at the start of the show, very intelligent, but by the end of the show... Loras isn't really much of a character. I guess it would make sense to put him on the same rung as Renly. Or no, I guess it would be more fitting for Renly to be below Loras. Yeah, Loras... I'm not sure why Loras would be on this tier list. He's not much of a character, but again, Ros is here, so I guess they can share E. Cersei, F. Easily F. Book Cersei is way up here in an S, but show Cersei is terribly written. She just gets so lucky and everything is written in her favour. It's Shae, F. She's well written to be evil, but she is evil. She's not a fun evil like Joffrey, she's just a cunt. Benjen's cool, but again, sadly, Benjen's not in the story very much. It feels weird to put him in A, and him coming back in season 7 kinda ruins the mystery of his character as well. I reckon B. Barristan, easy S in the books and in the show, but then season 5 occurs. You know what, no, we're gonna keep Barristan in S, and just try and forget what season 5 did to him, because that's not the character's fault. We'll keep him here. He can be the exception. Khal Drogo, probably A or B. Again, Drogo's not really much of a character. Drogo doesn't really say enough for you to truly understand who he is, so maybe a C? I guess maybe we'll just put him in C. Hodor, another meme character. D? Yeah, D. Lancel. Where would Lancel go? Again, he doesn't really do much. He's well written as a sort of shifty arse-licker. So I guess maybe D or E? Maybe D? Though it's a shame they left out all this other High Sparrow stuff that was in the books with him being all like religious and zealoty. In the show they just make him sort of evil, like a blind follower of the High Sparrow. So maybe we'll just move him down to E for that. Ah yes, Maester Llewellyn. Maester Lewin. He's a good character. I reckon he's an A. Back in the good old days of season 1 and 2, the grand days. Yeah, he can be A. Nothing wrong with Lewin. Ah, Alistair Thorne. So, interesting thing about Sir Alistair, this is not in the show, but Sir Alistair was a Targaryen loyalist and was sent to the Wall by Tywin after King's Landing was captured. Because of his hatred for Jon, you'd think he was a former Lannister man or something, but no, he's a Targaryen. And sadly, not in the show is his also hatred for Tyrion because of that, because of Tywin sending him to the Wall. Where would he go though? C? I mean, he's not a bad character. He's not badly written, but he's not. I guess he gets a bit clownishly villainous towards Jon in the show as opposed to in the books. Oh, it's what's her name? Osha, that's right. Where would she be? Maybe also a C? Again, she's good in season 1 and 2, but then when she's brought back in season 6, she could be up here, but season 6 brings her down to a D. Her death was just to kill her off and get rid of characters. Maester Aemon, S. S in the books and the show. Great character. Catelyn, probably an A or a B in the books, but they cut out Lady Stoneheart in the show, so maybe a D. Should not have cut out Lady Stoneheart. Ah, Talissa? Talissa, is that her name? Rob's wife? Again, she's not a bad character, but she's not... I mean, she's incredibly attractive, but that doesn't make her S. Maybe a C or a D, maybe on the same rung as Catelyn. There's nothing wrong with her, though. I do prefer the Rob's wife in the books with the whole family thing of the Westerlings. So maybe a D. No, she's too hot. C. Brienne. Brienne's a good character. I'm not sure about her fight with the Hound in the show. I think the Hound should have beaten her. But, so maybe a C then? Because otherwise she's pretty great aside from the occasional strange fighting. No, maybe a B. We'll give her a B for that. Davos. S. I don't think he ever does anything bad. He gets a bit, not exactly simple, but not put in danger a lot in the later seasons. A bit like Bronn. It's almost like the writers really like Davos and don't want him in danger. But that's not really his fault. He can stay in S. Tywin. Another easy S. Tywin's death does bring about the death of the show, as that scene not in having Tyrion talk about Tysha is such a shame for season 4. That's one of the reasons Tyrion's down here, is because of that Tysha conversation being excluded. Stannis. S in the books and S in the show until he burns his fucking daughter alive. F. Can't believe they did that in season 5. Marjorie? Again, quite attractive, but she doesn't... She gets... Oh no, she does... Yes, that's right. She gets killed off in the High Septon explosion, which is terrible. That should not have happened. E. Ygritte? I'm not sure I'd call Ygritte S. There's nothing wrong with her. She'd be an A. Ygritte's an A. She's a great character. Sadly, I would have liked some more screen time with her and Jon, like in the books, but what we get's pretty great. Great enough for her to be A. Ah, Balon Greyjoy. Not much of a character. He's well written as an arsehole, so I guess maybe C? Roose Bolton. Roose is a great villain in the books, but he says some really dumb lines in the show. So maybe a D, and there's of course his death. There's one scene in After the Red Wedding, Roose Bolton says, no, Walder Frey says to Roose Bolton, it must have been hell following that young boy around. And then Roose says, if he'd followed my advice more often, mayhaps he'd still be alive. But during the entirety of the show, the only piece of advice Roose Bolton ever gives to Robb is when Roose suggests they flay Lannister prisoners to get information, and Robb says no, because then Lannisters will start torturing Stark prisoners. That's the only advice Roose Bolton gives, and that the advice is to, we should torture more, and Robb says no. So yeah, that line is really, really bad. Actually, it's so bad, you're an E, fuck you. Oh, Gilly, F. So annoying. Jaime in the books and early show is an easy S, but then what happens in, when is it? It is season 8, when he abandons Brienne to return to Cersei. Does that make him an F? Or should we exclude it and keep him in S? Well, I guess we excluded Barristan's death and kept him in S. Oh no, but Stannis is an F. No, Jaime's an F, and Barristan's death makes him an F. Sorry. One of my favourite characters, but man, the writers really ruined you. Wait, F? F might seem a little harsh just for the death, and same with Jaime. Maybe E for the two of you. It's such a shame. I want you both in S, but sadly, season 5 occurred. Podrick? There's nothing really wrong with Pod. I like him, but I don't think he's more than a C. Melisandre... Again, she could be an S or an A. In the books she'd be an A, especially after her chapter in A Dance of Dragons. But she encourages Stannis to kill Shireen. F. Yara, or Asha. She's called Asha in the books, but, you know, they changed her name to Yara in the show. Yara's not... Again, she's not much of a character, she doesn't do too much. Probably a D. I guess she doesn't really get assassinated, so I'm not sure if she needs to be an E. I'll just leave her a D. Ah, Jaqen H'ghar. Now, this is interesting, because Book Jaqen is probably an A, and Jaqen in season 2 is an A. But Jaqen in season 6 in Braavos, that's not the same Jaqen. That's a different faceless man in Jaqen's face. So I'm going to call this isn't the old man in Braavos, this is Jaqen from season 2, who helps Arya in Harrenhal. That Jaqen is an A. Jaqen in Braavos, the fake Jaqen, he's probably an E. Again, he doesn't really do much, but real Jaqen, A. Grey Worm's fine, but then season 8 happens and he's a fucking clown. So, F. Thoros. No, not Thoros. Fucking Beric Dondarrion. Beric's really cool, but again, he has a really dumb death in the Night King fight, the final fight. He kills himself to save... He kills himself to give Arya, like, 5 seconds of time. It's a weird death. It's a very weird death for all of his resurrections. His death should have had purpose. He should have either been the one to resurrect Jon and give his own life to resurrect Jon, or he should have, like, killed the Night King or killed the Night King's resurrected dragon or something. He should have done more. So, D. Missandei, again, she's not a bad character, but she's not... Oh, she has that dumb line to Daenerys. When Daenerys says she knows the struggles of a slave, and Missandei says, you weren't a slave for long enough to truly understand. That was fucking cringe. D. Mance Rayder. Mance in the books, probably an A, but sadly the show killed him off prematurely, so... they also cut out his amazing scene with Jon when they first meet, when Mance speaks about why he deserted. So yeah, E. Alright, Tormund. Tormund? Is he an S? Book Tormund's probably a B. show Tormund at first is quite harsh and mean to Jon, because he's almost a combination of, I think, he's a combination of Jarl and Tormund. But then show Tormund sort of gets friendlier. There is that weird line when he doesn't know the word dick. That was odd, because he knows pecker but not dick. But I'm not sure if that's enough to take him down to B, so I reckon A for Tormund. Ramsay, a good villain at first, or is he? I mean, he's almost too edgy. He's a lot more evil in the books, but his evilness in the books makes him like, I don't know, it doesn't feel as edgy, even though he's more evil. He does feel like he has a lot of plot armor in the later seasons. And yeah, it does feel contrived. The Battle of the Bastards feels contrived for Ramsay to get the upper hand, so I reckon an E. Daenerys. Early season Daenerys and book Daenerys, S. TV show Daenerys, F. Olenna. There's nothing wrong with Olenna. I guess, is it her fault the Tyrell men are written so terribly in the show that Highgarden falls so quickly and off screen they just instantly lose to the Lannisters? No, she can be an S with Tywin, just like in the books. Thoros. Where would Thoros go? I guess Thoros doesn't really have any problems. He'd probably be he's not destroyed, I don't think. No, he's not. He doesn't really do anything wrong. So I guess, I think B is a good rank for him. Oh, it's, shit, I can't remember his name, but is he Pintel or Rigetti from Pirates of the Caribbean? Can't even remember the actor's name. But he's the warg, he's the wildling warg, who's in love with Ygritte. He's an invented character in the show so that to create tension between Jon and the wildlings, while Jon is he's invented to sort of create a love triangle with Jon and Ygritte, and he's the one who's sort of the most against Jon. Is he? I don't know, I wouldn't say he's a bad character, he's very bland and stereotypical. Maybe a D for that reason? Ah, yes. Qyburn. Qyburn's cool, though his ending is a shame. C, or maybe a D? Maybe a C, I guess? He could be higher, but I'm not sure. His death was kinda really goofy. Ah, the Blackfish. Should be an S. But again, the writers just decide to kill him off because they just want to start getting rid of characters. But, yeah, he should have gone with Sansa. I mean, he should have gone with Brienne after the Siege of Riverrun, so I guess that would bring him down to a B, which is a shame. Yeah, the Blackfish, Barristan, and Jaime should all be S. King Tommen, again, he's not really a character, but there's no real faults with him. He sort of exists. He's a weak king, but he's written to be so. I'm not sure he really contradicts anything, so C. It's season 4 Daario. Will we get season 3 Daario? Ed Skeen? Season 4 Daario and beyond. I don't really give a shit about him, so I think an E. But season 3 Daario, when Daario's first introduced, I reckon is an A. He has a lot more charisma, but season 4 Daario and beyond, no, E. The Viper, Doran Martell. Where would you be? I guess there's no problem with you in the show. He is incredibly accurate to his book counterpart. They do cut some lore out with his friendship with Marjorie's eldest brother, Willis Tyrell, but Willis doesn't exist in the show. Maybe an A? Yeah, I think A. I don't think you deserve to be an S. Ilaria Sand. Fine in the books and fine early on, but she kind of, when she kills Marcella, that was so fucking dumb. Remember what? Because Doran. Because Oberyn said it himself. Because remember Oberyn says it himself, he says, we do not kill little children in Dawn, and then you fucking kill children. Stupid idiot. Marcella, again, she's not really enough of a character. I guess she'd be on the same ranking as Rickon, I guess, in A. Well, no, that's right, because Rickon, no, she'd be a Bran, she'd be a D tier. Oh yeah, if we're putting Marcella in D, then I guess Tommen should be in D as well. Viserys. Original Season 1 Viserys. Those were simple times back in the Season 1 days when Viserys and Khal Drogo were the biggest threat. Viserys, honestly, this might be quite subjective, but he is one of my favourite characters for how evil he is and all the evil shit he says. He is so much fun to watch. S. His quotes are so fucked I can't even say them. The Sand Snakes. F, E. The High Sparrow? Is there anything wrong with him? Probably D. He is a minor villain. He does get quite annoying and has a lot of, what would you say? Would you say plot armor? A lot of contrivances on the High Sparrow's part? E. Quentin Martell? Barely a character in the show. I think we're gonna have to do F because of the whole Dornish plot in general. Yeah, Doran Martell again, F. Massively character assassinated. It's such a shame they cut Dorn from the show. Season 5 was a disaster. They cut so much content. Euron. Book Euron, probably an A, another great villain. Show Euron is Show Euron's an F, definitely, that's right. Because there's his scene where he's introduced in the King's Moot, and he stands up and he says, I'm going to sail to the Dragon Queen. And you're a book reader sitting there thinking, oh sweet, he's going to whip out the dragon horn. And he says, I'm going to sail out to the Dragon Queen and give her my big cock. Fuck's sake, it is so shit what they did to him. Randall Tarly. Randall Tarly, F. And here's why. Randall Tarly is a Targaryen loyalist. Randall Tarly fought for the Mad King during Robert's Rebellion. So when Cersei, who has no fucking claim to the throne, Cersei calls for his aid, and Randall Tarly sides with Cersei against Daenerys. The Targaryen supporter sides with Cersei. What the fuck? It is so absolutely stupid, and they only did it because he's mean to Sam, and so he's a villain. Terribly fucking written. And then we have Jon. Book Jon, S. Show Jon, I guess, where would Show Jon go? Is there really a problem with Show Jon? I can't think of anything. Yeah, I reckon an S. Show Jon is an S. Sure, there's some goofy action with the Battle of the Bastards, but that's not him as a character's fault. We've got Robb. So, Book Robb's mistake was marrying Jane Westerling after he slept with her. He married her for the honour of it. And doing so alienated the Freys. But I'm not sure if you can really blame him for losing the Freys' support, because the Freys are devious and have always been devious. Roose Bolton first, in the books, Roose Bolton married his wife way back when Robb was promised to marry the Frey girl. So Roose was setting up his potential treachery ages before. So I'm not sure if you can really blame Robb too much. Book Robb would probably be a B or a C because he's not a point of view character. Whereas Show Robb, they gave him a lot more, so maybe an A. Though he does start to get sort of poorly written in terms of the battles, and they sort of suddenly have, because Robb has his great victories in the Whispering Wood and at lifting the siege of Riverrun, but then suddenly he starts sort of losing off screen, but it's not really gone into detail, so maybe a B for that. And then Ned, S. No real problem with Ned at all. Writing wise, he stays consistent. And then there's, if you look at this, you can see it here. Yeah, there's this actress There's this woman from Vice Dothrak, there's this actor, there's Ian McShane's Priestlyman, and there's the Archmaester. These characters are not significant enough, I don't believe, to be placed on this list. I guess we could just put, because what, they'd all be in E? Like, it's pretty, why are they even here? But yeah, that was a fun sort of shitposty meme video about a Game of Thrones character tier list.